Thwomp Ruins is a pretty tricky course to practice on. While none of the strats are particularly difficult to learn, every lap is played slightly differently. Not only that, but there are a lot of places where the track is designed in such a way that it makes it difficult to get ramp tricks. So come, stay a while fellow racers and commiserate with me as I take you through part 4 of Basic Training, where we're going to go step by step through everything you need to know about Thwomp Ruins on 150cc. As always, we're going to cover the recommended builds, mushroom strats, and other advanced tips and tricks to help you start mastering the course. If you find these tutorials useful, I'd really appreciate if you dropped a like and a comment to let me know. Subscribing and hitting the notification bell is also a good way to help me out, and also to stay up to date whenever I drop a new video, because I put out a new track tutorial almost every week. With all that out of the way, let's dive right into it. The recommended build for this course is the ultimate tryhard build: Waluigi, Mr. Scooty, rollers, and paper glider. This build has a ground speed of 3, an acceleration of 4.75, and a mini turbo of 4.75. You may recognize this as the same build that was used on Water Park. Here's a fun fact: between Mario Kart Stadium, which used Dry Bowser, Mach 8, Leaf Tires, and Paper Glider, Water Park, which used the build that we just discussed, and Sweet Sweet Canyon, which used Baby Daisy, Bitty Buggy, rollers, and Cloud Glider, we've basically seen all the builds we're going to see for every track in the game, both on 150 and 200cc. The basic idea behind which build is going to be best for each course is this: how many twists and turns are there in the track? If there's not that much, then we're going to use the Mario Kart Stadium build, which heavily favors speed. If there's a decent amount of turns, but not super crazy, then we're going to use the Water Park build, which provides a pretty decent balance between the two. If there's almost never a time when you're not needing to drift, then the Sweet Sweet Canyon build is going to be your go-to build. Alright, that's enough of that. Let's jump straight into the track. When the course starts, you're going to want to be turning slightly to the left, and then you want to pretty much immediately hop right and then start a left drift. Once you pass the big block, use the shroom, build up a mini turbo, and wait until you're basically on the ramp to release it. You want to release and hop at the same time so that the momentum from the mini turbo can carry you onto the ramp. One thing to point out is that you want to try and use your mushroom as early as you can while still being able to hit the ramp. This is for a few reasons. First, I don't think that the boosts stack, so your mushroom will actually cannibalize your mini turbo. The second reason is more complicated. The basic story here is that when you use your first mushroom, you want to make sure that you're using it to maximize your horizontal movement as much as possible. This is kind of a general principle in this game, which is that if you're not in a glider, vertical movement is always going to cost you time. And so you either need to make up for it with things like ramp tricks and shortcuts, or else avoid it altogether. Alright, we've officially made it past the first 5 or so seconds of the track. Well, almost. I promise that the rest of this tutorial won't be so painful. Once you get to the ramp here, you want to trick off of it, and you want to try and be at an angle that you can land immediately in a drift and then grab the coin. It's kind of a pain in the ass, and I can't really offer much guidance other than maybe try and leave the ramp in the very middle or slightly center of left, and then you should be good to go. So like I said, you land in a drift, grab the coin, and build up a mini turbo. Once you release it, you immediately do 2 hops to the left, because what you're going to want to try and do is build up another mini turbo before going up the wall on the right hand side of the track. When you do this, you're going to want to kind of hop before you get onto the blue panels here. I'm not 100% sure on why this happens, but if you just drive up the ramp, it definitely slows you down a lot. Now normally, going up the wall like this is pretty slow, but you get a whopping 6 coins here, which is just too good to pass up. One piece of advice for this turn is pay attention to your wheels and the track as opposed to your character. If you rotate the track on its side, you can see that the coins are all in a straight line, so as long as your wheels stay centered on the track, you should be good to go. Make sure to trick off the last orange boost panel and then prepare for the first advanced strat of the run. What you want to do is hop slightly before you get to the edge of the track here, and hold down the drift button. You should land on the track and immediately start falling into the water. While you're in midair, you can keep holding down the drift button and holding down a hard left on the joystick, and this will cause you to actually build up a mini turbo in midair. Now when you land here, you should have a mini turbo built up. You want to release it right around when you grab the coin here, and then do a right drift. While you're doing this, if you hold a wide drifting angle throughout the entire drift, you should be able to snag the second coin under the water here. Now, it's very important that you stay to the left of the stairs here. You can actually trick off the little ramp at the very top of the stairs, but you kind of bounce around a bit if you're actually going on the stairs themselves. And this weird movement can actually prevent you from getting the ramp trick, and it costs so much time. So yeah, try and stay away from the stairs. The rest of lap 1 is pretty straightforward. Hug the next 2 turns tightly, and then when going into the last turn of the lap, you still want to hug it tightly, but not super tightly. This is to set you up nicely for hitting the shortcut at the end of the lap here. It's not super complicated, but unfortunately I don't really have much advice for you on how to hit it specifically, other than just to practice. You should be able to drift right off the track and land on top of the shortcut. To finish the lap, all you have to do is trick off the end of that little piece of track in the shortcut, and then trick off the glider ramp. This is the second place where the game can randomly eat your trick jump inputs for seemingly no reason. There's one more little ramp that you can trick off of before the stairs, and you're going to want to try and land on the front half of it so that when you do the trick, it minimizes your airtime while still giving you a boost. This is also, unfortunately, the third place where the game can eat your ramp trick inputs for seemingly no reason, and we're not done with that, by the way. Lap 2 plays out similarly to lap 1, with 2 major differences. The first is that once you go into the ruins themselves, you don't want to go up the wall. Instead, you want to try and soft drift around the left side of the track to keep a super tight line. Build up an Ultra Mini Turbo, and then you basically do what you did on lap 1 with the Mid-Air Mini Turbo strat, except that you do it on the left-hand side of the track instead of the right-hand side of the track. And instead of doing a left drift off the track followed by a right drift up the stairs, you just do the opposite and do a right drift off the track followed by a left drift up the stairs. Lap 3 plays out similarly to lap 2, except that when exiting the first bit of ruins, you'll see there's a blue ramp that's gotten exposed by the rolling wheels. You want to try and trick off the ramp here, but like I foreshadowed earlier, this is another place where the game can seemingly yet again eat your trick inputs for no reason. And unfortunately, I haven't been able to find a good consistent setup to get the trick. You kind of just have to go straight off it, press the trick button when you're going off the ramp, and hope for the best. Other than that, the rest of the lap plays out just like on laps 1 and 2. So let's see how all this looks in a full run. So that's going to be it from me for today, guys. I hope you really enjoyed the video and found it useful. And like I said, the course isn't that hard to learn, but there's a lot of things that can go wrong in ways that are largely out of your control. So the course can be frustrating, but don't let that discourage you. Like almost all things in life, practice makes perfect, so get in those time trials and I will see you in the next video. Thank you very much for watching.